Alexander was born on March 3, 1847, to Professor Alexander Melville Bell and his wife Elizabeth Grace. Alexander was the second of 3 sons, but unfortunately, he was the only one out of all 3 of them to live a long and healthy life. His other 2 brothers died of tuberculosis at very early ages. Early on, Alexander had a great interest in the learning of elocution, in which his uncle, his grandfather, and even his own father taught in various schools. Being that his own mother was practically deaf by the time he was age 12, he had a great interest in learning how deaf people communicate and how he himself could better communicate with his mother. Alexander was enrolled in the Royal High School of Edinburgh, where he graduated at age 13, and at age 16 he had his first job as pupil teacher of elocution and music in the Westonhouse Academy. After a year, Alexander moved to the University of Edinburgh, and then he graduated from the University College of London. Not long after graduating from college, Bell became an instructor for the Somersetshire College in Bath, England, from 1866 to 1867. In 1870, 23-year-old Alexander, along with his mother and father, immigrated from Scotland to Canada. With his father right by his side, Alexander took a small job in a nearby school, where he taught deaf children the verbal system. While in Canada, Alexander had a new interest in trying to get sound waves to move electronically, but of course, this would take much time and research. In continuing his research on communication, Alexander left Canada and moved into the United States, where he settled in Boston, Massachusetts. Here he set up his laboratory, working long hours to figure out how to get sound waves to travel along a single wire. On July 11, 1877, Alexander married a Miss Mabel Hubbard of Boston University, where he worked. Like his mother, she was also deaf. And the fact that both his mother and his wife were deaf, this made him strive harder to finish his soon-to-be greatest invention yet. After much experimentation and research, Alexander, along with his assistant Thomas A. Watson, would soon discover the beginnings of the greatest invention in modern communication. Alexander was tending to one of his other inventions in a room far away from Watson. Surprisingly, Alexander left his 2 prototype phones connected with each other in each room. When Alexander had an accident with his invention, he called for Watson's help. And surprisingly, the signal went through the wire and Watson received the message and quickly took action. This accident not only saved Alexander's life, but it was the birth of the invention that would be soon known as the telephone. After his invention was made public, Alexander's telephone soon became a nationwide phenomenon. Almost every household in the United States owned some form of his telephone, where they stayed in close contact with those they loved. In 1882, Alexander became a naturalized citizen of the United States. Alexander died on August 2, 1922 from diabetes. He was survived by his wife and 2 daughters. Alexander was also credited for creating other inventions such as the phonophone and the modern-day air conditioning system. Alexander was known as one of the greatest British, Canadian, and American men to ever live. He has forever left his mark on bringing the world a little closer in contact.